So check this out. This is the brand new Lego Toy Story Slinky Dog Bookend set. And yeah, it looks amazing, but hiding inside is this tiny, tiny detail that tells a huge story. We're talking about toy company rivalries, incredibly complex legal deals, and why some of your favorite characters might just be impossible to make into minifigures.
See, in this new set, we get some fantastic characters. But when you go looking for Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, you don't find these cool, detailed minifigures. Instead, you get these. Just little dots, simple, single, one-by-one stud pieces. So what is going on here? I mean, think about it. Over the years, we've gotten these amazing, fully detailed minifigures for characters like Woody and Buzz Lightyear, but two of the most iconic members of the entire gang, they get shrunk down to the smallest Lego piece that even exists. Why?
Now, you might think this was just a mistake, right? Or maybe the designers got a little lazy. But nope, not at all. This was a very deliberate, a very intentional choice by Lego. Those two little studs are actually an Easter egg, and the reason they exist is way more interesting than any minifigure. It all comes down to business. Okay, so to figure out why we have stud-sized potato heads, we've got to become detectives. We have to unravel this big puzzle about who owns what. The answer isn't about design or how creative the team was. It's about figuring out who actually has the legal rights to these classic characters. And that brings us to this kind of tricky but super important idea called shared intellectual property, or shared IP for short. Basically, it's what happens when a character doesn't neatly belong to just one company. You might have one company that owns, say, how the character looks and acts in a movie, while a different company owns the rights to the actual physical toy itself. And this is where it gets really juicy for the potato heads. Disney and Pixar, they own the rights to the Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head characters that we all know and love from the Toy Story movies. But Hasbro, one of Lego's biggest competitors, they own the original Potato Head toy brand. So the character is literally stuck in the middle between these two massive competing giants. So, for a company like Lego to even think about making a proper potato head minifigure, they'd have to navigate this incredibly tricky business deal. It's not a simple one-on-one negotiation. It's more like a really complicated, really awkward three-way handshake. So let's break down just how messy this gets. Okay, step one, that's the easy part. Lego and Disney work together all the time. But then, step two, that's the complication. Lego would also have to get a license from its direct competitor, Hasbro. And that, my friends, is the ultimate roadblock. Getting all three of those companies, Lego, Disney, and Hasbro, to agree on the terms, it's almost unheard of in the toy world. It's just so difficult to pull off. Okay, so we've talked about the legal stuff, which can feel a little abstract. But let's bring it back to something we all understand: money. Because even if, by some miracle, they could make a deal, the cost of doing it would make the final minifigure incredibly expensive. And to really get a sense of how expensive we're talking, we just have to look at the collector's market. We can pull up some data from Bricklink, the huge online marketplace for all things Lego, to see what people are already paying for rare characters right now. So look at this. Even a figure like Lotso, who's, kind of rare, can sell for over $10. And a classic like Woody also fetches a pretty good price on the secondary market. This kind of gives us a baseline for what a standard, rare Toy Story minifigure goes for. But here's the thing. A properly licensed Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, they wouldn't just be rare. No. The crazy licensing situation would put these figures into a whole different league, a completely different universe of value. Think about it like a formula for a super expensive minifig. You start with the high demand from collectors. That's a given. Then you add in the extreme scarcity that comes from that insane three-way Disney-Hasbro Lego deal. And what do you get? You get a minifigure that's so expensive it would instantly become one of those holy grail items for collectors, probably costing way more than even Lotso. And that finally brings us full circle, right back to where we started. Faced with this legal nightmare and a price tag that most fans probably couldn't afford, Lego came up with this solution that is just brilliantly simple, a compromise that was hiding in plain sight the whole time. Yeah, this quote just nails it. The stud-built nod is the cleanest balance between tribute and practicality. It's a perfect little tribute. It's a nod to the characters. It tells us, hey, we didn't forget them, but it does it in a way that's actually practical. So really, this whole thing is a total win-win. We fans get a fun little Easter egg that acknowledges the characters, and LEGO gets to completely sidestep a legal and financial mess. It keeps the set affordable, it keeps it accessible, but it's still really clever. So those two little dots, they're not a letdown. They're actually a sign of a really, really smart move by LEGO. So that leaves us with one last question to chew on. This whole huge story was hidden inside two little pieces of plastic. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other impossible toys might be hiding on your shelf right now, represented by some clever little compromise, all because of these complex business deals happening just out of sight?